with Christian Davino.
Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with a CTV News exclusive. A story we've been following regarding allegations made against a longtime Barrie Police officer and senior member of the service, Inspector Valerie Gates. CTV's Mike Arceliti is now with what OPP investigators believe Inspector Gates did to warrant charges under the Police Services Act.
What started out as a preliminary investigation to get compromising information on another police officer up for a promotion with Barrie Police Service appears to have backfired on Inspector Valerie Gates. This according to documents obtained by CTV News. Gates, who is currently facing 2 counts of discreditable conduct under the Police Services Act, is accused of having misled, lied to, and withheld key evidence from investigators with the OPP Professional Standards Unit, who were tasked with looking into allegations Gates bullied and harassed other officers by engaging in gossip and insulting language in the workplace and lying about the steps she took 4 years ago when conducting a promotional competency review. Revealing information coming to light tonight about the OPP investigation into Inspector Gates and efforts among Barrie Police's highest-ranking officers to assist Gates when she was accused of conducting an inappropriate and unapproved preliminary investigation that involved other officers.
I think that was probably a little bit.
Gates, a 27-year police veteran, including 23 years in Barrie, has 2 Police Services Act hearings scheduled for later this year, charged with separate counts of discreditable conduct, stemming from what Barrie Police said related to, quote, on-duty internal incidents involving other officers. CTV News has reviewed documents outlining what the Ontario Provincial Police Professional Standards Unit discovered when looking into Gates' conduct when Gates found herself in trouble as she pressured a fellow officer to provide compromising information on another member of the service. All while Gates, quote, routinely met with and was being provided guidance by outgoing Police Chief Kimberly Greenwood, whom Gates, in her own words, referred to as a mentor and safe place to discuss the allegations of misconduct against her. The former chief retired from the service weeks before Gates' husband, Rich Johnston, became Barrie's top cop. CTV News reached out to now retired Barrie Police Chief Greenwood, who denied interfering in the OPP investigation of Gates. Greenwood, documents show, declined to participate in the OPP investigation, despite being offered several opportunities to speak with investigators in person, virtually, and in the form of predetermined questions for written responses, despite still meeting with Gates during this time period to discuss the Professional Standards Unit investigation against her in May of 2023. Greenwood didn't want to take questions from CTV News about the investigation.
As I said, you will speak to members of the Barrie Police Service in regards to this matter.
Greenwood telling CTV News she declined to meet with investigators because she was ill at the time. When asked whether she interfered in the investigation by providing guidance to Gates through a series of conversations in person and via text messaging, Greenwood said she did not interfere.
I'm asking is, did you interfere by counseling Inspector Gates at the time? And then when you said to her...
I did not interfere.
Right.
I advised her to follow up as she had been instructed, and that's all I'm going to say.
Text messages between Gates and former Chief Greenwood indicate a close personal and professional relationship that included Gates visiting Greenwood at her home to have a conversation, all while the two texted about Gates potentially being written up by her superior for failing to notify a supervisor while conducting a preliminary investigation into another officer's alleged misconduct. Referring to the complaint against her, Gates told Greenwood, "He knows you will be very upset when you hear and was thinking of driving to your house to tell you," end quote. Greenwood later replying, "I cut that off immediately." The OPP determined Greenwood would not entertain a chief's complaint being filed against Inspector Gates and concluded Greenwood, quote, "shut it down." Text messages reveal Gates had told Greenwood to expect a call from her superior, quote, "in regards to our discussion that we didn't have on Monday," end quote. Once the OPP reviewed Gates' work phone, concerns grew with Gates, texting Greenwood, "Would you possibly be able to meet today? I thought the grievance was cut and dry, but the more I find things, I think it's not good." Greenwood agrees to meet, replying, "I'm available anytime after 12 noon. I'm sorry to hear. That is not good." Greenwood later telling Gates, "Is there anything I can do for you? I was thinking about this all day yesterday." The OPP Professional Standards Unit investigation concluded that Gates left out several text message conversations with another officer. Gates, when questioned about it, could not explain why she failed to provide what investigators considered critical evidence. The Professional Standards Unit substantiated a total of 4 charges against Gates, 2 each for neglect of duty and discreditable conduct. It is unclear why, after investigators substantiated the 4 charges against Gates, she was only charged with 1, or who in fact made that decision in December of 2023. Gates was subsequently charged with the 2nd count of discreditable conduct 7 months later. Gates, who remains on active duty as the head of Barrie Police's investigative services. Her Police Services Act proceedings have been marred by delays, with the defense claiming for months it required further disclosure from the prosecution. Barrie Police Service has not commented further on the matter, referring the matter to the OPP. Calls and emails to Inspector Gates' legal counsel with questions about this report have not been returned. Following an impromptu teleconference call this afternoon, the prosecution announced it has reached an informal resolution on both charges before the Police Services Act, though neither the prosecution nor Barrie Police would disclose what the details of that resolution are. Mike Arsleedy, CTV News, Barrie.
Ontario Provincial Police, meanwhile, met with survivors of the former Huronia Regional Centre to talk big changes, including the possible demolition of the site's building. CTV's Luke Simard brings us more from the meeting that stirred mixed emotions.
And it still terrifies me today, even though if they tear it down, it's still going to be with me.
Survivors and members of the group Remember Every Name met with Ontario Provincial Police Wednesday to discuss the next steps of the demolition of the former Huronia Regional Centre. During the meeting, survivors told their stories. The meeting was initiated by the OPP seeking input on how to honor and respect the HRC's history. Members left the meeting with mixed emotions.
They're telling us what they want us to hear, not what we want to hear. And I'm not getting any younger to see the building taken down.
We were happy to hear that indeed all of the buildings will be demolished. There are 49 buildings, but it'll be happening in 2 phases, phase 1 and phase 2.
Vacant buildings will be demolished during phase 1, with occupied buildings facing demolition in phase 2. Survivors of Remember Every Name would like to see the main administration building demolished now.
That main building is the first building that survivors entered when they were children. That's where they were admitted into this hellhole, and they want that memory to be erased.
Because this is the main building that's in my head when I fall asleep at night, or when somebody mentions about this on the news. Then it comes all back to me again. I don't know how to stop it.
Other requests from Remember Every Name included a memorial museum that would be operated by the organization.
If there is to be a memorial museum, the survivors have to be part of the design and the concept, and it has to be a respectful exercise, and it will contain information about the history, but also about the future, how we can support people better.
According to Remember Every Name, it was agreed on survivors will be allowed into buildings before demolition to designate certain items as important artifacts in the history of the institution for a future museum.
We've sat since a meeting in 2016 where things were promised that never happened, and have not had any meetings or any significant communication with the government since then. So this announcement that the buildings are coming down and that they're listening to survivors is really big.
Now, CTV News spoke with the OPP late this afternoon regarding the meeting that took Wednesday, and here's what they had to say.
It was an opportunity for meaningful introductions, engagement, while seeking their input and perspective on how to honor and respect the HRC's history. We see this meeting as a positive first step that sets the stage for continued input from an open dialogue with residents, survivors, and stakeholders.
We also asked the OPP if the group would be able to get inside buildings to select artifacts for a potential museum. The OPP said that the buildings that are vacant are currently not safe, but are willing to work with the group when and if it is safe to do so. Reporting live, I'm Luke Simard. Christian, we'll send it back inside to you.
Okay, thanks for that, Luke. Well, a public meeting was held to discuss the multi-million-dollar redevelopment plan for the former Muskoka Regional Centre. Residents in Gravenhurst had the opportunity to speak with developers about their questions and concerns.
This is Ontario Place Spa North. This is the Science Centre closing north. This is the Greenbelt disaster north. All of the people on this call must write to Ford and Rob Flack and give them hell, because this being fast-tracked is just not the way our country should be working.
Cliff Bay Muskoka Corporation struck a deal with the province to buy the 70-acre lakefront property with plans to transform it into a massive tourist hotspot, complete with hotels, a spa, and more. The historic site first opened in the late 1800s and officially closed in 1994. Meantime, Barrie Police made a dramatic arrest this morning in the city's downtown. This was the scene along Bayfield and Sophia Streets where officers surrounded a small gray vehicle. Now, witnesses told CTV News the vehicle crashed into nearby scaffolding with debris from the vehicle left tangled in it. The circumstances surrounding the crash remain unclear, but police confirmed one person was taken into custody. A 16-year-old male has been arrested following a reported sexual assault near Kempenfeld Bay's North Shoreline on Wednesday evening. Police say the teen was taken into custody just 8 minutes after the call came in, which was around 8 p.m. He's now facing charges of sexual assault and failing to comply with the release order. Police confirmed the incident was isolated with no threat to the public's safety. And a 50-year-old Collingwood man is facing impaired driving charges after crashing his electric bicycle into a tree. When police arrived to the scene on Finley Drive on Tuesday, they found the rider had more than twice the legal limit of alcohol in his system. He was arrested, charged with impaired operation, and had his driver's license suspended. Police are reminding the public that e-bikes follow the same rules as motor vehicles, and that includes impaired driving laws. Now, this comes as new data released today shows the e-scooter injuries are on the rise across the country. The Canadian Institute for Health Information says hospitalizations related to e-scooters are up a staggering 61% for kids aged 5 to 17. Additionally, hospitalizations for adult women have surged by 60% and by 22% for men. Most involved riders not wearing helmets. Well, Casey Colby is here now for the first look at the weather. And Casey, you look quite bundled up. What a difference between yesterday and today. You certainly told us the weather was going to get cooler, but this cold, it's chilly out.
So many people, everywhere you go, people, it's too hot, it's too hot. It's summer in so central Ontario, it's too hot. How do you like this, eh? It's kind of cool, isn't it? Yeah, the jacket's on. And then some. Let's talk about how cool it is. A first look at the forecast. And here you go. Of course, brought to you by our friends at the graveldrivewayguy.com, your local gravel driveway expert. 18 degrees. Wants to be 18 degrees out here. The winds, well, that's a northwest wind gusting to 30 Yeah, how about the temperature outside your door? Looks like the cool spot, there's two of them, Collingwood at 14 and Algonquin Park where the wild things are. They must be breathing a big sigh of relief with the cool weather. 19 in the Sunshine City of Orillia, 16 in Mount Forest, and 16 degrees up Parry Sound Way. This is a look at the radar satellite image. Did you receive a shower today? I think most of us did. A little rain came down just about everywhere. A little sun first thing this morning, too. Coming up in just a few minutes' time, I'll let you know how long this cool weather is going to stick around before the heat returns.
Oh.
And the jackets come off. Christian.
Thanks for that, Case. We'll see you in a bit. Well, as the hot and dry weather does continue, Springwater Township has issued a total water and fire ban, effective immediately. All outdoor water use like lawn watering, pool filling, and car washing is prohibited. In addition, all outdoor burning and fireworks are banned too. Fire permits are temporarily void. The bans are in place to reduce wildfire risk and to conserve water for emergencies. Fines start at $150 for violations. Safe borders, Canada's defence, both are also government properties, but even Ottawa's boost in military spending won't be enough to stave off a recession. In fact, a leading global advisory firm says we may already be there. CTV's Judy Trin looks at the numbers and what it means for Canada's economic health.
Pay as soldiers to buying new equipment. The Canadian government will spend $9 billion more this fiscal year on the military, boosting the bottom line of companies like Hepburn Engineering that makes refueling equipment for Canada's Navy.
the defense area is going to be more robust for the next several years, because that's where the demand's going to be, when we have a world that's a lot more dangerous.
With that spending, Canada will finally meet the 2% NATO target. But growth in the defense industry may not be enough to protect the country from recession.
Defense spending will help to offset some additional further negative impacts, but we do think the Canadian economy is already in a recession, and it will really take an early resolution of the trade war to get us out of that.
Oxford Economics projects that Canada will be in a trade war until the end of 2025, and that 140,000 jobs could be lost. The impacts are already being felt in steel, aluminum, and auto industries.
The direct hit from the trade war will soon begin to broaden to other sectors of the economy and lead to a much broader, more widespread downturn.
Meanwhile, Hepburn is expanding. It has 100 employees and is hiring more as it competes for new military contracts.
We expect this will continue, but we have to wait. The business has to come our way, and then we make sure we're big enough to be able to handle it. And so we've added a number of employees this year, and if things keep growing, we'll add more.
Economists are now focused on August 1st. That's the deadline for a new trade deal between Canada and the U.S. Earlier this week, Prime Minister Mark Carney said it's unlikely Canada will emerge from those negotiations without being hit with some form of tariff. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Bank of Canada announced today that nearly 60% of Canadians could soon be facing higher mortgage payments. While rates may ease, most homeowners renewing their mortgages will see monthly payments jump around 10% this year and another 6% next year. Borrowers with fixed-rate mortgages are likely to experience the steepest jumps, upwards of 20%, especially people with 5-year terms. Meanwhile, the ongoing lack of sales in the housing market is impacting the construction industry. The Canadian Home Builders Association is expressing concern about the well-being of businesses over the next 12 months. 35% of builders and contractors have already done layoffs. Well, statistics are showing a growing number of vehicles are being sold in this country. Meanwhile, with some dealers reporting record numbers, but analysts warn that the rise could run out of gas. CTV's Robert Lothian has the details.
On the lot at LaSalle's Riam Chevrolet, cars are moving fast.
We're having a banner year. It's been just foot to the floor nonstop.
Despite initial concerns, the dealership has so far been left unscathed by tariffs and trade uncertainty. Instead, sales are up across the board.
If anything, it's maybe put a little bit of pressure on customers to, if you were concerned about the market, to get out early and get ahead of it.
That tracks with nationwide figures. Statistics Canada data shows a 5% increase in new vehicle sales in May compared to the same month last year.
The sales have been up a little bit in the months as we predicted, but that pull ahead still will balance out in the rest of the year.
Auto Forecast Solutions' Sam Fiorani believes consumers are trying to get ahead of higher costs that many predicted U.S. tariffs would bring.
Just because the prices haven't gone up in the first half doesn't mean they're not going to go up. The tariffs have just started to kick in, and that's the prices haven't affected the consumer.
Heading into the second half of 2025, analysts predict a slowdown. A new report from Scotiabank projects a softening of the market caused by a softer labor market and uncertainty.
If consumers don't like the prices in the second half, sales will go down, hoping that the prices will come down in 26.
On the sales floor, Howell says the work doesn't stop to keep turning cars over.
We can't expect anything to last forever. We need to do better and, earn more customers.
In the coming months, Fiorani says they will be keeping an eye on inflation and how that impacts vehicle costs. The latest inflation report from Statistics Canada showed car prices climbed more than 4% in June year over year. Meantime, used car prices were up close to 2%. Robert Lothian, CTV News.
Though sales may go up, the theft of vehicles remains a significant problem. Most stolen vehicles end up being loaded onto ships and containers destined for delivery overseas. To combat this crime, one of the busiest ports in North America has opened a brand new container examination facility. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has that story.
Over the past 15 months in Halifax, 189 stolen vehicles and more than $200 million worth of narcotics and other types of illegal drugs were seized.
We're talking thousands of kilograms. We're not talking street level arrests where it's a gram or two. So seizing 4,000 kilograms of cocaine at a purity of 95% and up.
This massive container examination facility is designed to assist Canada Border Services Agency officers in their ongoing efforts to crack down on illegal activity at the Port of Halifax.
To combat things like fentanyl coming into our country as well as being exported out of our country, stolen vehicles.
Electronic scanners and examination stations will closely monitor high-risk shipping containers. This truck contains a scanner to examine all forms of suspicious cargo.
It then takes an X-ray of everything that's in the container.
This facility features modern high-tech security equipment that is also mobile. It can be taken from here and used at both of Halifax's container terminals. The launch of this facility comes at a time when U.S. President Donald Trump has used illegal drugs entering his country to justify tariffs.
We owe it to Canadians to make sure our borders are safe, more so than we owe it to the President of the United States, but we do have to be good neighbors as well.
This building, named after the historic Africville Seasides hockey team, replaces the previous warehouse that was located in Dartmouth and required shipping containers to be transported several kilometers for inspection. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
In the United States, the Trump administration is hinting at another major shakeup in airport security, this time targeting liquids, restricting in carry-ons.
But I will tell you, the liquids, I'm questioning, so that may be the next big announcement is what size your liquids need to be. We're looking at, our scanners. What we have put in place in TSA, a multi-layered screening process that allows us to change some of how we do security and screening.
The rules have been in place since 2006 following a failed British terror plot. This news comes shortly after U.S. transport authorities announced passengers no longer need to remove their shoes during screening. There's no word yet on when liquid limits might change or if Canadian authorities will follow. In an update on the health of the U.S. President, Trump announced today that he's been diagnosed with a vein condition that causes leg swelling. The White House says the announcement is part of an effort to be transparent. No signs of heart failure or systemic illness were found. And doctors in the UK are celebrating what's being hailed as a major medical breakthrough. 8 babies have been born using DNA from 3 different people. Now, doctors used a cutting-edge technique that combines an egg and sperm from the parents with a second egg from a female donor. The goal was to prevent mitochondrial disease, a potentially fatal condition passed from mother to child. It's the first real-world proof that the method works. The babies inherit nearly all of their DNA from their parents, except for 0.1% from donors. Also to come, big splash alert. We have a first look at the new Canadian Museum of Water, where you'll be able to make waves while learning and exploring. Plus, it's a knockout achievement for Aurelia's Black Lotus Kickboxing Club. We'll have more on how they're making history. You're watching CTV News Barrie. Aurelia's Black Lotus Kickboxing Club is making history as the only club in North America and possibly the world sending 3 fighters to the World Kickboxing Championships. McKenna Van Allen, Dustin Cronk, and Nick Langman will all wear the maple leaf this fall in Abu Dhabi, representing Canada at the World Association of Kickboxing Organizations Championships. Langman, the club owner and fellow competitor, calls it an honor, saying it reflects the team's relentless dedication, elite skill, and true Canadian pride.
I have full confidence in everything that I do, and just knowing that if I put the work in, I can succeed at whatever I need to succeed in.
Every dime, every hour goes into
this. And like I'm okay with that, but it's definitely a challenge, but you got to sacrifice to be the best.
If you have two fighters and the coach that make the team to go and fight, that speaks volumes.
The Waco World Championships takes place on November 22nd. Well, bats were cracking and hearts were giving in Barrie Wednesday night. The Barrie Baycats 17U and 18U team steps up to the plate, not just for a win, but to help fight hunger in our community. Before first pitch, players collected sealed, non-perishable food donations in support of the Barrie Food Bank. The idea came straight from the dugouts, started by a catcher on the U18 team.
It's $5 increments.
I've seen it being a struggling thing in our community, and the Barrie Food Bank does do a really good thing in our community, and I know they need our support. I've worked with them before with hockey, so I just wanted to bring this to baseball, and hopefully they continue it throughout the years.
And unlike most charity games, the fans were treated to quite a show, with last night's matchup a competitive one.
Batting fifth, the designated hitter, number 27, Ryan Rio.
And happening right now, the Barrie Baycats are turning Athletic Culture Stadium into a sea of red for their Pack the Park night. The event is free for all to attend, but they're asking fans to wear red, as the team will be sporting their special red throwback jerseys as they take on the Guelph Royals. There will be face painting, giveaways, and other fan-centric activities, including a merch stand where a portion of the proceeds will go towards supporting RVH. And you still have time to get there, as first pitch is set for just after 7:30. Well, an all-new hands-on adventure has landed in Midland, and it's all about one thing: water. We got a sneak peek at the Canadian Museum of Water ahead of its grand opening on July 19th. The experience dives deep into science, explaining how water works, why it matters, and what we can all do to protect it.
What we want to do is work with both children and adults in order to get them to think a little bit more about water, its use, what it means to us. One of the things that we've seen over the last few years is people really losing touch with the heritage of water. And there's 120 museums around the world that have just formed a brand new World Water Network since 2017. And the idea is to change the culture surrounding water around the world.
Located inside the Midland Cultural Center, it will be Canada's first official member of the global network of water museums. And for information on all of our local events, along with other stories, you can go to our website, and that's where you can watch our news live online and all of our stories and breaking news as it happens. Just head to ctvnews.ca/Barrie or scan the QR code on your screen. Now, from farm to table, 2 spots were saluted today for their efforts in helping local farmers thrive. MPP Brian Saunderson presented Goldsmith's Farm and Bakery as well as Foodland Thornbury with the Foodland Ontario Retailer Awards, recognizing their creative displays that put Ontario-grown fruits and veggies in the spotlight. And those aren't the only locals being recognized. Our colleagues at Pure Country 106 are getting national recognition. The team has earned a nomination for Small Market Station of the Year at the 2025 Canadian Country Music Awards. Longtime host Jason McCoy is also in the spotlight with a nomination for Personality of the Year. The CCMAs celebrate the best in Canadian country music and will be taking place on September 13th in Kelowna, British Columbia. Also to come, we'll bring you the sounds from a cafe that is turning up the volume with a cultural twist. But first, let's check in with Casey in the garden.
Humidity's gone. Cool temperatures are here. In fact, single-digit cool in our area. In fact, again, it will be cooler in parts of our region than Whitehorse, Yukon territories tonight. Whoa! Our weather watcher RT says, hey, when Casey says I see rain, I see an opportunity for indoor play. Gaming, that is. You're watching CTV News Barrie.
Hi, I'm Sarah Freemark, and if you missed the kickoff of the Troubadour Festival Summer Concert Series, don't worry, you've still got time to join the fun. This incredible 4-part celebration of live music runs through September 6th, bringing award-winning Canadian artists and local talent to our Meridian Place waterfront stage. Thanks to Mayor Alex Nuttall, Downtown Barrie BIA, CTV, Pure Country 106, and Bounce 1041, admission is completely free. So grab your friends and let's make this summer unforgettable with CTV, Pure Country, and
Picture This, brought to you by Bounce 1041 and Pure Country 106.
I do love me some ice cream, and thanks again to everyone who took the time to send in those pictures this week. We want to see your photos of your summer adventures. That can be anything like ice cream, like I mentioned, or even the Big Nickel, and you can send in those photos into Picture This at ctv.ca. Let's take a look now at someone who's going through his own adventure. Case, you look like you're about 2 to 3 degrees away from battling a blizzard out there. What's going on?
No, I lost the hat. I had to lose the hat. It was a little over the top. But yeah, I mean, a jacket, that's not over the top. A thick sweater, that's not over the top. Northwest winds, they're over the top. Yeah, and they're gusting this evening. Yeah, it is kind of cool. Certainly cooler than what we've expected or enjoyed the last little while. Let's take a look at the forecast. And here we go with the temperature outside your door as we speak. 14 degrees in Collingwood, 19 in Newmarket, 17 in Alliston, and 19 degrees in the Sunshine City of Aurelia. This is the almanac for today. 26 and 19, that's the high, that's the low. Okay. Incidentally, at 26 degrees was very early this morning. 34, a record 34 degrees back in 2011, and 5 degrees, record low in 1956. Are we getting that low, single digits tonight? I'll let you know in a second. Sunrise, sunset, 5:51, 8:57. Grand total of 15 hours and 6 minutes of daylight. Rolling that forecast radar, and looky what happens as we go. Yeah, that's tomorrow, looking very nice, right? The beginning part, or the evening, yeah, would you still have a chance at a shower? Yes, there is still a chance of a shower before clouds clear and hello sunshine. This is southern tip of Georgian Bay, Lake Simcoe. Overnight temperatures settling in. Looks like 10, 11, and 14 degrees. Cloudy skies, there is a slight chance of a shower, and then clearing overnight and some low-lying fog. Keep that in mind if you're out driving this evening. And then for tomorrow, 22, 24, sunshine. Lovely way to start the weekend, isn't it? Orangeville, Bradford, Georgina, Newmarket, Richmond Hill, 8 and 13 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Clearing overnight is what we can expect. And then for tomorrow, well, 24 and 25 degrees and plenty of sunshine for you to enjoy. Not as if you like sunshine. Parry Sound, Huntsville, Bracebridge, Gravenhurst, Halliburton, 8 and 9 degrees, clearing skies. Hey, Halliburton, cloudy this evening, though. You're the one area, and a 40% chance of showers and or a thunderstorm. And then for tomorrow, 23, 24 degrees. Sunny skies. Halliburton may take a little while to get there. Clearing skies tomorrow during the early part of the day. That's tonight and tomorrow. Now, time for the Diamond & Diamond Lawyers 5-day extended forecast, and it looks like this. Starting with Simcoe County. Let's go Saturday. Cloudy skies and 30% chance, yeah, the clouds are back, 30% chance of shower activity, the high of 20 degrees. Sunday, 24 degrees, sun, clouds, slight chance of showers. And then Monday and Tuesday, back into the sunshine. And ladies and gentlemen, the temperatures are climbing, as is the humidity. 5-day extended forecast, York Region. Have a look. Saturday at this point, cloudy skies, just a 30% chance of shower activity. Yes, just 20 degrees for the high. 27 on Sunday, and sun, cloud, and a 40% chance of a shower. And then Monday, Tuesday, sun is back, 24, 25 degrees. Enjoy. 5-day extended forecast, Muskoka, Parry Sound, Halliburton. Saturday at this point, yeah, cloud, slight chance of a shower just about everywhere across our region. 24 and 25 degrees on Sunday. There's the sun. Yeah, it's starting to come out. Probably a later part of the afternoon, 25. And then Monday, Tuesday, 23 and 26 for the highs. That's the forecast on land. Now, time for here it is, the Marine Report, brought to you by Suzuki Marine. And we're going to start this evening with North Lake Huron and South Lake Huron, and the winds for both out of the northwest, 25 knots this evening because there is a strong wind warning, and they lighten up as the evening progresses as we get into tomorrow. And the waves, well, this evening about 1.5 meters and then gradually subsiding, just probably about a meter or less than a meter for tomorrow. That's both North Lake Huron and South Lake Huron. Georgian Bay and Lake Simcoe now. Winds out of the northwest, 25 knots for this evening, and then becoming progressively lighter as we get into tomorrow. Waves this evening, 1.5 meters, and by tomorrow, well, there'll be 1 meter or less. And there is a strong wind warning in both Georgian Bay and Lake Simcoe. So that's on land and on water, and I'm pretty much done with this toque. Christian.
All right, thanks for that, Kay. So let's look now at a group that's bringing the heat out on the dance floor. A Ukrainian cafe in Edmonton is hosting daytime dance parties aimed to showcase their Ukrainian culture in a unique setting. CTV's Marek Takash has more.
A pierogi spinning beats on one side of the cafe, staff serving Ukrainian dishes on the other.
I feel very energetic. Usually I'm not going to parties, but this is my party.
Like most of the staff at Danya Kitchen, Sophia Stolarenka was born in Ukraine. She moved to Canada last February after Russia's invasion of her country.
All of our staff have connections back in Europe, back in Ukraine, and so they were showing us these parties with music and DJs, and today we've got our pierogi DJ to add the Danya flair.
This is Danya's first dance party, an idea inspired by morning coffee shop raves in Ukraine.
They do it almost every week in Kyiv now, even with all the news that's happening, so they try to kind of live their life on and trying to boost people's mood because of course it's hard to live with everything that's happening and with the war.
Organizers hope to attract downtown workers for a different lunch break experience.
It just has to pick up some time to adjust for people, sometimes it's hard once it's something new, people never seen it before.
Danya's dance parties are scheduled for 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. every Wednesday.
Sometimes we get caught up in everything that's going on and all the work and all the stress, and what better way than to just music it out. Yeah.
Marek Takash, CTV News, Edmonton.
Also to come, it's a major milestone for the happiest place on earth. We'll have more on how Disneyland is celebrating 75 years of making magic. We'll also recap tonight's top stories. You're watching CTV News Barrie. Recapping our top stories, the prosecution is working towards a resolution for Police Service Act charges against longtime Barrie police officer Inspector Valerie Gates. This as allegations were uncovered that Inspector Gates lied, misled, and withheld evidence from the OPP Professional Standards Unit prior to being charged under the Police Services Act. Provincial police and survivors from the former Huronia Regional Center have met to discuss the next steps for the site, including its demolition. The meeting was initiated by the OPP seeking input on how to honor and respect the HRC's history, but some survivors say they left with mixed emotions. And a new report says Canada's defense spending plans may not be enough to save its economy. Findings show that the commitments will raise our country's real GDP this year and the next, but adds that a recession is already underway and warns of future job losses. Well, Canada's main stock index rose for 100 points late this morning, boosted by gains in tech. Let's take a look where the numbers stood at the end of the day. The TSX, it was up 233 points. The Dow was up 229, and the NASDAQ was up 153. In commodities, oil was up $1.04 to close at $66.23 a barrel. Gold was down $13.80 to finish at $33.24 an ounce, and our dollar was down, ending the day at 72.71 cents U.S. Well, Canada Post workers are gearing up to vote on a new deal starting Monday. After months of stalled talks with the Crown Corporation, the union representing 55,000 workers is considering a final offer. It includes wage increases and plans for 7-day delivery. The vote runs from July 21st to August 1st. And speaking of mail, Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and their friends are getting the royal treatment. The Royal Mail released a set of 8 new stamps to mark 75 years of the Peanuts comic strip today, adding some British touches to the charming characters. The stamps will go on sale starting July 24th, but are now available for pre-order.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past, and here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future.
And 70 years ago today, the happiest place on earth opened its gates. Walt Disney's vision of Disneyland became a reality in 1955, revolutionizing the amusement park industry. It now attracts nearly 20 million visitors annually and is one of 12 Disney parks worldwide. The park is marking the milestone with a new animatronic attraction detailing the history of Disney's journey. Also to come, get out and get ready to rev those engines. We have a preview of something exciting from the much anticipated Honda Indy Toronto. You're watching CTV News Barrie. Your primetime lineup tonight on CTV2 begins with According to Jim at 8 o'clock, carrying on through to 9:30. That's followed by Criminal Minds at 10 o'clock and CTV News Barrie coming up at 11. Well, the Honda Indy Toronto is returning to the city's lakeshore this weekend, and so are the iconic Waterford Crystal Trophies.
Yeah, it's cool. You know, I think there are some trophies that when you win, you're like, really, this is what I'm getting? And there are very few that when you get them, you're super excited about, and just beautiful works of art. So it's definitely in that section.
Unveiled today by defending champ Christian Lundgaard, the hand-etched Skyline Adorned prize takes 48 hours to craft. Top 3 finishers will take one home Sunday. Free general admission returns tomorrow with donations supporting Make-A-Wish Canada. Now, what's the best thing to do with a giant salami? Well, start making sandwiches, of course. That's exactly what the Italian-Canadian Club of Guelph did after being gifted a massive salami by a local business. They teamed up with a few local shelters, inviting people to come by to enjoy an authentic Italian sandwich for free. They served more than 400 sandwiches in one day. James Gunn's new Superman movie has sparked a massive spike in dog adoptions thanks to its scene-stealing pup Crypto. Just days after the film dropped, searches like Adopt a Dog Near Me have jumped over 500%. Shelters across the globe are reportedly seeing a big wave of interest. Warner Bros. Has even stepped in to help 450 pets find homes through a fee-waived adoption campaign. And a highly anticipated movie is already on track to be a big blockbuster hit 1 year ahead of its release. Tickets for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey went on sale Wednesday for theaters around the world, and nearly all sold out within minutes. Starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, amongst many others. It will be the world's first film shot entirely in IMAX 70mm format. It is set to be released on July 17th next year. Now with that, let's head it out to Casey for our Get Up and Go.
Get up and go. Let's talk about the return of sunshine. Yes, indeed. Here it is, the return of sunshine. First thing tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. Very sunny skies, 13, 15 in Newmarket. Wide open sunshine. And Gravenhurst, 11 degrees. And here comes the sun. That is the Get Up and Go forecast. Have yourself a great evening.
And you as well, Case. And that is our newscast tonight. I'm Christian DeVito, and of course, I'll be back on the desk tonight at 11. Until then, take care and have a wonderful evening.